So during the course of the campaign, we mainly focused on the differences between Mark Schauer, who believes in large government and puts his trust there very clearly. By the way, he's voted somewhere now between 95 and 96% of the time with Nancy Pelosi. Now, I don't think the majority of Nancy Pelosi's votes fit very well with the 7th District, including Blackman, Sandstone Township, Jackson, Michigan. I don't think her support for cap-and-trade energy tax, which will be the largest tax increase if it ever passes, and they will keep coming back with it. It's being held up in the Senate now by Republicans, even though, if the truth be told, Republicans couldn't hold it back if the Democrats wanted to vote for it. But even they don't want to vote for it. So it sits there in committee. But Nancy Pelosi supports that. Mark Schauer does too. John Dingell said it's not a small tax. It will be a large, great big tax. John Dingell said that. That wasn't a Republican saying. Nancy Pelosi forced through, by hook or by crook, by deceit, by paying off people, the health care bill, the takeover of your health care by government. Well, Mark Schauer supported that too, twice. I mean, the face of Mark Schauer and Nancy Pelosi start to morph together. And when you see things like the issue of a card check, the stimulus bill that stimulated nothing so far except government jobs, you see the major difference that's there between myself and my positions and Mark Schauer. And so those issues have been honed during the course of the campaign. We look forward to that debate between Mark and myself during the next 8 weeks as of yesterday. During the course of the campaign, numerous times I would go to my BlackBerry, and I know that some of you have heard me say this and say, Tim, you don't need to do it again, but I want to remind you, having my bachelor's degree in education, I like to think that teaching flows through my veins as well. And I know that when you say something, it's reminded in people's minds to a great degree. But when you illustrate something, it stays in their minds even longer. And so I've read this many times, but I read it to you again. Welcome. And I read it so that you can see my BlackBerry, and at a point in time, should you give me the opportunity to represent you again, you can say to me, if you have a concern about how I voted or what I'm talking about, or concern of perception that I might be going in the wrong direction, you can say, hey, Walberg, pull your BlackBerry out of your hip pocket there. And let's go back to those points you said you stood on. Because you will have remembered that I've said that I'm Tim Walberg and this is where I stand. I stand for our founding principles, belief in God, our Declaration of Independence, and Constitution. I stand for freedom. Freedom to start a business, choose your doctor, what you drive, what you eat, to carry a gun, to teach and raise your own children, and to live your own life. I stand for personal responsibility. Let's encourage common sense, good behavior, and discourage bad behavior. I stand for limited government. That government that limits regulation, limited spending, limited taxing, and limited borrowing. And I stand for life and all the other American traditional values. And as I point out, the fundamental difference between Mark Schauer and myself is that while he trusts and is willingly putting his trust in big government and wants to expand it, I put my trust in the American people. And I think a free people with the resources and the liberty to make their own choices, decisions, take risks, win, lose, get up and go on, achieve, use their success to supply jobs for others, all of that is what has made America great. And that will be debate in this coming election cycle in the next 8 weeks. And so I appreciate you coming tonight, and I think in a meet and greet at Town Hall, one of the best things is to allow you some opportunity to speak, make comments, ask questions of me, so let's start.
I got one.
Yes, sir.
How come the hospital won't allow a lot of people's private their doctor, they can't go in to put out there? Is that illegal?
Probably a doctor here could answer that better, but there are doctors that they have a contract with Foot Hospital and Allegiance Health System.
Yeah, they can't speak English.
So you're,
I don't know.
you were saying there are doctors in the hospital that won't be allowed to
No,
work at the
no,
hospital?
no. My doctor can't go in there. If he's not a member of that group, he can't come to the hospital. You gotta get a doctor, don't even, never seen you before. And he don't know what's the matter with him.
It's in the system.